encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we discuss everything real estate and the construction industry on the program Property Talk. Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by Worin Nigeria. Don't miss it. This land is...
Hello, Abuja. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show Property Talk, proudly brought to you by Worin Nigeria. I'd like to say Happy New Month to our listeners. It's a beautiful month already. The sun is bright. Really, not that harsh, but the sun is bright, and it's a sunny day here in the capital city. And we are live on your darling station, Armed Forces Radio 107.7, Abuja. Well, today we are here with another exciting episode. We are still going to be talking about how to access mortgage here in Nigeria, accessing housing mortgage here in Nigeria. And like we started last week, we have an expert in the house, Mr. Onduve. He's a mortgage banker and the co-founder of GIDA. He did a lot of work last week, educating us on everything we need to know around mortgage. But there are still a few questions that were not answered last week that we were not able to exhaust last week. And so we are here with him. In fact, I have some speculations here that we need him to clear, to just get us informed so that we will be able to engage. Right. So welcome to the show, Mr. Onduve.
It's a pleasure being here again.
In fact, I've been trying to watch myself not to do injustice to that name. Right. So maybe you just mention the name one more time, let our listeners understand what I'm trying to say.
It's Steve, it's Benny, it's Onduve. But you're allowed to just say Onduve.
Onduve. I'll try to make it that way. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for being a major contributor. When we think mortgage, I think the first person that comes to mind is you. Just GIDA.
Yeah, that's exactly how we want it.
Good to have you, Mr. Onduve. Is a friend of the house, and is a specialist. Like I said, he's a mortgage banker, and so today is going to be doing justice. So a few questions I want to ask Mr. Onduve. Yeah. So first, I want you to help us clear speculation. So it's a question of whether it's true or not true.
Okay.
Well, so many people don't know, or better, is it true that the maximum loan amount a person can get has been raised from 15 million to 50 million? So this is a... I think you're in position to answer that, yeah? But is it true that, the maximum loan you can get, is now above 15 million, that you can get up to 50 million? Is that really correct?
Yeah, it's actually true. And it didn't just start this year or last year. As far back, I think, about 2023. That's when they actually increased it to 50 million. So the maximum people can get is 50 million. However, I would be wrong if I don't pass the other information that goes with this, saying that it is now based on certain criteria, like how much you can afford and then how much you contribute. So for example, people contributing between 0 to 10,000 naira every month, they can get a maximum of 15 million. But if you're contributing 10,000, 1 naira to 25,000, you can get a maximum of 25 million. But the people that are contributing above 25,000 naira monthly are the ones that have access to anything from 26 to 50 million. Okay. So yes, you can, but there are certain criteria.
Okay, so I will really need you to be able to state this, because we're going to be opening the phone lines for calls for our listeners to call in and ask questions and then probably make contributions. Right. So, but I wanted to still run down the criteria. What are the category of people that qualify for the 50 million? Yeah.
So it depends on your age and your income. So if they calculate, because how much you can get is dependent on your age and your income. So if they calculate and find out that you can get between 50 million naira below, then you need to contribute 0 to 10,000 naira. The people that, if they calculate and they can get between 16 million to 25 million, then you must contribute between 10,001 and 25,000 naira. So the people that they calculate and they find out that this person can get 26 to 50 million, then you need to contribute above 25,000 naira. Because if you're contributing let's say 6,000 naira and you can get 50 million, they will look at it and say, no, this person is contributing in between the people that are going to get 15 million as the maximum. So they'll give you that 15 million. So you can get 50, but it depends on how much you're contributing and if you can afford to get the 50. Very important.
Wow, this is interesting actually. So let me ask you, right, in line with what you're saying, do you see the need for even higher limits in the future? Looking at the inflation now in the country and, how that construction cost is skyrocketing by the day.
Well, I'll answer it in two ways. The first one, I pray that there won't be a need for higher limits. The reason I'm saying that is so that things will come down. The price of materials, price of services and things come down, and price of houses will come down, which is all we're praying for. But going by statistics and data, inflation is going to erode income and price of houses will keep going up and you have to add the appreciation rate. So eventually, just like how they raised it from 15 to 50, eventually in a couple years, you're going to need to raise it from 50 to something. If house prices arise, if in Abuja, let's say you can't get a one bedroom for 50 million anymore, then they will have to increase it now, which was what happened when they had to increase it to 50.
Wow. So we just pray the increase will come because as it stands, it feels like nothing is ever going down. So when it just goes up, it just keeps going. People find a way to adjust and all of that. So I pray we will get to a point where these things will be able to balance up and all of that. Right, so, but still, let me ask you, sir, since you're here. So can you explain to us what exactly a construction loan is? And how it's different from the normal mortgage that we know.
So this is one of those loans that a lot of people don't really know. And a lot of people these days, as house don't cost, a lot of people are now buying land.
Yes, at least.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
As house don't cost, a lot of people are now buying land. But now when you buy the land, how you go build the house? This is one of those things where the federal mortgage thought about all these things. They have a loan called construction loan, where they would give you the money to actually build your house. As long as you have your land. And the land, the title is registered. They'll not be saying you go bring title where they never register for land registry. Because they will do search. As long as that is registered and you have your bill of quantities, and very important, you must have done at least 10%. So you must have put foundation. Because they're not going to say bring equity.
Sure.
But you must have done at least 10%.
Yes. That's sort of...
They would give you the money to build, and they won't give you one time. Nigerians, give them one time, some people not going to even build house. So they will give you 30.
And watch the process.
Inspect, see that you have done, give you another 30, inspect, see that you have done, give you another 40. But yes, they will give you money to build the house. As long as, remember, the criteria for any federal mortgage loan is that you must be a contributor to the scheme. You must contribute monthly. Criteria.
There. So let me ask, because I'm going to open the phone lines now, so our listeners will be able to call and ask their questions if they have any or contribute. Yeah. So I need you to help us clear the air before I open up the phone lines. What are some of the common mistakes that people make when they apply for these construction loans?
Some of the common mistakes people make is that they don't carry the right documents. In fact, most Nigerians don't even know that when they buy from a real estate developer, you buy from a developer, the developer will give you deed of assignment, you hold it. Most Nigerians don't even know that they're meant to carry that deed of assignment and go and register it in the land registry. So the federal mortgage will never give you a loan unless because they will do legal search. So when they go and do legal search on that deed of assignment you're giving them at the land registry, if they don't see anything, wait till you want me to give you loan. Because the land, the papers is going to serve as the collateral while you're paying the loan. Because you have up to 15 years to repay this loan. And it's 7% interest, that's small. So that's one mistake. Another mistake, people don't get the bill of quantities right. They don't get other things right. But you see that document.
Yes.
That's a common mistake people make. Because when I talk to a lot of people, and I tell them, you don't register your deed of assignment or deed of sublease. They look me as if I did mad.
What is this man
Like
saying?
what am I saying? Like
I don't buy
did I
that.
not just pay this developer?
Yes.
And you know, some developers now I tell you to pay for documentation. Just to create the documents
In fact,
that they are meant to. So you think they are registered it.
Somewhere on their posters you see FCT approved.
So
you say, okay,
so you think that, and most people don't know that the developer or the real estate company, when they have the approval from FCDA, when you buy, you're buying from them as a subsequent transaction. If you don't go and register it as a subsequent transaction under that land, you're in trouble, because if you pass it down to your children and that developer sells to another person, now who register first get land?
That's
So
true.
it's one of the common mistakes a lot of people make.
That's true. All right, listeners, I'll be opening the phone lines now, so you can call in and ask the experts whatever question you have, and if you have contributions in the direction of mortgage, and construction loans, you can ask him. He'll do well to answer all of your questions before we wrap up on the show. Right. So the phone line you can call is 081 30 60 8527. I'll call that again. 081 30 60 8527. Maybe I should call you one more time. 081 30 60 8527. So I understand basically that if you're an earner in Nigeria, if you earn, you should be able to access a mortgage in Nigeria. You should be able to access even the construction loan. If you earn and you're able to get, you have a land that is registered, you should be able to access this. Though you don't need to be a government worker. If you just have consistent income that can be traced to say, okay, this is it, you'll be able to access that. Wow.
Yeah. So like I keep going, now information is power. Now who know they enjoy. So a lot of people don't even know. They think that this thing is just for government workers. If you ask people, they come and tell me, but I'm not a government employee.
That's the normal, that's like the common knowledge.
Exactly. And I'm like, no, you don't have to be a government employee. Businessman, freelancer, even people in the diaspora, they even create a loan for them. So as long as you're a Nigerian, income any Nigerian above 18, so that 170-year-old, because these days 70-year-olds they get money. Yeah. So as long as you're an income earning Nigerian above 18, you can apply for this loan. It has no restriction. And if you see if you sit down to think about the thought pattern of the products that are available for Nigerians, there's the one that you can build, there's the one that you can buy. Then they also have home renovation loan where you can get 1 million to even renovate the house that they gave you.
Oh.
I mean, so they've thought about a bunch of things to actually help Nigerians when it comes to home ownership. But you just have to apply, contribute and apply. If you don't apply, you'll never know.
I think information, and that's why we're here on the show. I think information is just the gap.
And who know now? Who
I think
know
it's
now?
information. People are not really informed about all of these things. And one of the misconceptions is that it has to be you have to have a cooperative to be able to work. What would you say to that?
There's actually a loan called Cooperative Housing Development Loan, where if you're part of a cooperative, you can actually, and you have land, and people need money to build for your members. I mean, your members, you can actually go to the Federal Mortgage Bank and tell them, hey, we have members that are contributing to NHF. We have the land. We have a developer that is ready to build. Or you see the plans. Give us money to build for our members. And they will give you. That's what the Cooperative Housing Development Loan is. To actually help people in the informal sector own homes. So, I mean, if you're a cooperative or you're part of a cooperative and you people are looking for how to buy a house, or some of your members don't tire to the rent, this is an opportunity for you to actually get yourselves together and go and get a loan to build a house for yourselves.
Yeah, so we learned that there's something called the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria's internet banking, right? So can you feed us on, what you can do for the customers?
It's one of those things that a lot of people have been waiting for, honestly, if you have been a contributor, because the process was manual. If you have ever registered back in the day, you would have to get a passbook. You have to go to the zonal office. You have to go and fill. When you make payment, you have to fill how much you have contributed on a passbook. When you are, because you know the money that you're contributing is going to be refunded back to you.
Yes.
So when you're about to request for a refund, you go submit your passbook. They
So
go start to
collect
calculate. And your passbook go plenty now. If you work
Wow.
30 years,
Wow.
your passbook will go tick. So they'll start doing that. But internet banking now, you can go online.
Which is more reliable and faster, smarter.
More transparent. You
more
can go
transparent.
online. You can contribute. You can register, become a new contributor online. Sit down in your house, do it. You can contribute. You can see exactly how much you have contributed. You can even down to request your refund online. Easy peasy. Every single thing. That transparency that everybody has been looking for.
Wow.
They are catching up to the digital age because it just makes everything easy. So now when people come and say, oh, boy, how do I register? What do I need? What documents? I say, calm down. We're not back in the day now.
Yeah.
They don't. We're today. All you need to do is see the link, register. Simple. If you want to contribute there. Simple online. Every single thing online. It is as efficient as any internet banking portal in Nigeria right now. It's just that the money that is there, you know, if you touch them, no, we say you go feed the use and buy credit and other things.
Yeah.
You get refunded at retirement. Yeah.
This is actually beautiful. And this is actually beautiful. This is actually beautiful. Well, I'll call out the numbers again that you can call. Mr. Onduve is Aunduve is here and ready to answer all of your questions. Yeah, the number you can call again is 0813 06 08 527 081 30 60 85 27 yeah, 081 30 60 85 27. That's the number you can call, you know, to ask your questions, you know, and then they will be answered here. So one other question I would like to ask here.
Yes, please.
How does the NHF handle cases where multiple contributors want to pool funds from a single property?
So, you know, I think that will go into the fractional ownership. It's becoming very popular right now. In today's day and age, especially with blockchain, fractional ownership is becoming very popular. However, not to the best of my knowledge, the FMBN does not have fractional ownership yet, where plenty different people can pool funds. Because how it will work, or how I envision something like that might work, is that different NHF contributors can actually pool their funds and buy one house. So you can have 100 people that are buying a house. So the house now is broken down into shares.
Yes.
So fractional ownership is not there, but I mean, with today's day and age, it's just going to get to a point where to get there. However, there is joint application. A lot of people don't know that there's joint application where you can pool funds with your spouse. So if only you now, you can get about only 14 million and your spouse is earning an income too, you can pool funds with your spouse and actually apply to increase your limit. So if you pool funds, you can probably get about 30 million. So it improves your chances of earning a house. So they don't have fractional ownership where there's plenty people. However, there's joint application strictly between spouses, husband and wife, not brother and brother or sister and sister. Strictly between husband and wife.
Wow. Amazing. So I must really commend, you know, the mortgage system in Nigeria. It's actually working. It's actually working with all of the information that you are dishing out today, right? It's a point out to the fact that it's working, and that just, if you want to say something.
No. I want to say, like, I think it is becoming more prominent right now.
Yes.
For a different bunch of factors. Rent is high. As rent is high now, more people are looking for alternatives.
Explore all of the
there's
options.
there's something about demand. There are more people demanding for mortgage products now than ever. And there are also more affordable mortgage products out there. So apart from NHF, of course, you have the MRIF by Ministry of Finance Incorporated that just recently came out. That is 12% and gives out mortgages with speed like a commercial bank, which is actually commercial banks that process it and things like that. So now that has opened the space up for more houses available through mortgage. And as demand keeps increasing, supply will match. And when supply matches, what will happen is that competition will come. Competition will eventually lower mortgage interest rates.
Yes.
As well as improve processes. So I think we're getting to the point right now where demand is actually picking up thanks to inflation. So thank you, inflation, because inflation has now increased.
If there's no reason why
it
we
has
should
now
appreciate
increased rent
inflation, I think we
prices.
found one.
My landlord increased my rent. I stay in a 1-bedroom
Yeah.
apartment. My landlord has increased my rent twice this year. 1 bedroom in Guarimpa, 3.1 million.
Wow.
For waiting now.
You can't work for
I no go buy a house now. Now down payment already.
Yes, of course.
That down payment already. So a lot of people are experiencing the same things. So they're looking and they're like, see, I can wait 1 year, pay 1 more year rent, but at least I would have invested in my own house.
Yeah.
Because imagine paying 6 million for 2 years, 12 million, and you don't own it. My God, I mean,
that doesn't sound too
doesn't
wise.
sound like the smart option for anybody to
Yeah.
do. Really doesn't. So yeah, more people are just their demand is creating that.
So the thing is, I think the mortgage space in Nigeria is ripe. Yeah, so we will need more players, more people to jump on it, right? People are beginning to realize, and platforms like Worin is making the, awareness. It's just creating the awareness. People are beginning to realize. So people have a lot of options, like what we did with the telecoms industry. Now people have a lot of options. People can decide, okay, I think this works better for me. This works better, right? And it's lucrative when you look at, more advanced nations. Right, this is what works. Nobody pays outright. Everything is, credit. Everything is work. What would you say to, people that are thinking of, maybe organizations that are thinking of investing in mortgage system in the country? What would you say about the climate?
I'll say the time is right. I'll say the time is like, you see the open banking that they just approved, that is about to kickstart in August or September. That gives you access to everybody's data. One of the biggest things with mortgages is risk assessment. If you can do proper risk assessment, then it reduces the rate of default. So now with that policy, you can come in and understand the customer. And this is not just for mortgages, for every single thing credit. When they were opening a credit bureau and then doing things on credit, and this government is doing like that concept.
Yes.
They're getting it right.
Yeah.
I won't even give them, and they're putting policies in it and making moves that are actually opening up that space. Because what you find out is that a lot of more people start selling on credit because I can access this customer's data way more efficiently.
It's not going anywhere.
So you actually start finding people that can see Nigeria's mortgage system as lucrative, because they're like, interest rates back there is 2-3%, and most banks survive on mortgage. Here, banks don't survive on mortgage. They survive on charges. So imagine if that shifts. So if that becomes a thing where more players come in because they see it as lucrative, because I can reduce the risk of defaults, because I can do, you're going to see more of it. And believe me, you're going to see more of it. That's why platforms like Worin are coming up, educating people about stuff like this. That's why platforms like Gida are coming up, showing people the houses they can buy. That's why more institutions are putting out mortgage products. That's why there are more employers contacting people today saying, you know what, come and help our staff get mortgages. And you know what, we will cover the down payment so that at least their salary will cover the payment. So more people are doing things to help. Because if I'm a staff, I dey think about 3.1 million naira rent. You know what it does? It opens doors to corruption. You must sleep, and if they're not paying you enough,
it affects your creativity.
Exactly.
Your productivity.
Exactly. If they're not paying you enough that you can, and this is not like it's one of the highbrow places, it's just a decent place. Kubwa rents na 2.something million.
Yes.
Dawaki, I used to ask for when I was looking for a house, I told them 2.5. They said 2.7. I said, "Oh God, I beg, do 2." They looked me.
that was in city
They
center
turned
now.
around and left like
Yes.
I
Like
didn't
you're
even
not
talk.
ready.
I'm like, what? So how many people can actually afford to pay stuff like this? So yeah, mortgages are just the option.
Yeah, you know, back in the day, you have when you ask people why they want to work for government establishment, part of the things they will tell you is that they have access to mortgage, that they know at retirement, or I know somehow something housing is covered.
Yeah.
Right. So, but now that we have the system open, that we have more players coming in, right? More organizations are taking advantage of that to say, okay, let's have it as part of our packages also.
Yep.
But it's going to boost, productivity. And there's a lot of narrative this is going to change about Nigerians. Coupled with the fact that we are now trying to get data right? That you could comprehensively as a nation, we're trying to get data right. It means that there's really a future here in mortgage. So I would say this to not just mortgage, every credit system. If you have credit system ideas, this is the time to begin to think of launching, right? And I feel it's more lucrative when it has to do with housing.
Of course.
Just forgive my sentiments, but I feel do your research, and I know you agree with me at the end of the day.
Don't worry. It will start with phones first.
Yes.
And then it will go to cars. Because these are things Nigerians love to buy and are willing to buy on credit. Then it will go to houses.
Yeah.
With this new open banking, more phone companies will be willing to actually put their sales on and things like that.
And this is so interesting, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation here. I'm glad that we're having.
I love being here.
Right, and ladies and gentlemen, I think you need to know that this conversation still continues off air. Right, we are very, very active on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, which is now X, right? And today we are streaming on YouTube, so this program can be watched still on YouTube. It can be watched on our Facebook. So you follow at Worin Nigeria on all platforms. And today we have Gida. You can check out Gida too. Gida is Gidda. Yeah. Somebody was asking Gida, Gida. I said, no, you won't find anything when you try to do that. Yeah, but you can get all of these information and all of these this conversation will still continue there. So we will respond to your comments, your DMs appropriately, right? And still, like we always say here, housing deals, right? We pride ourselves in vetting. So it means that every other property that we put out to you, every other information that we're bringing to you are vetted information. In fact, every of the artisans that we allow into your homes are vetted artisans where you can trace at the end of the day where this guy is coming from, right? Worin is accountable. Of course, that's where we pride ourselves in, right? So all of these deals you can see on our social media platforms, and then let the conversation continue. But still, if you want closer connection, which people call WhatsApp a closer connection actually, and which is beautiful. I like what they are doing with that platform too. And you can message us on WhatsApp. Somebody will be right there to respond to you, right? Promptly, somebody is there to respond to you. And you ask what are the numbers, what's the number that you can message us on WhatsApp. I'll just call it maybe twice, and then we'll call it a day on the show. And so the number you can reach us on WhatsApp is 090 77 481210. I'll call the number again for WhatsApp messages 090 77 481210. So before we leave your radio, I would like to ask our guest, Mr. Onduve. I'd like to ask him for his final words. What are your final words for our listeners?
I'll say, until you try, you'll never know. So try. Don't listen to what people say. Try, get expert advice, because mortgages have benefited many people in Nigeria and is the most popular way to own a home in the world. 60% of the houses on the world are through mortgage. There's a reason why, because it's the easiest way and it makes more people away. So try, get advice and try.
Thank you so much, Mr. Onduve, for being here, and thank you to the team at Gida for allowing their co-founder come on the show anytime we call, right? So it's a pleasure to always have you here. Thank you so much.
Pleasure being here.
So ladies and gentlemen, we'll come your way again next week on the same station, Armed Forces Radio 107.7, with the program Property Talk, that's proudly brought to you by Worin Nigeria. And maybe to feed you in, Worin is spelled WORIN. WORIN, like my song, we say W for water. WORIN, that's Worin. We are on all social media platforms, like I said. Until we come your way again next week, Monday, my name still remains Strength Douglas. Please have a very beautiful afternoon.
Prove that it is mine. This land is not your own, no. Oga, you better go and look for your own land. See my own document here. I don't pay for this land detail. Now my name did the documents like this. Look at my documents.
But this land has always been my own land. I've known this land. I've had this land for a while now. It is mine.
Land dispute is as old as civilization itself. From building collapse to authorized demolition, boundary disputes, and even encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we